Alright, there's lots to talk about, so let's just not waste any time. Let's roll the music. Hello all MRBers and welcome to another wrestling related video with me, Mike McRock, one half of the McRock Bolt Wrestling Review Show. And what do I have for you for tonight? Well, I got my NXT review for the November 11th edition Remembrance Day. And before I get into this review, I want to take a shout out to all the men and women who supported us here in Canada that fought for us in the war. Now, let's get into this week's episode of NXT, and there's a lot to talk about, and we'll start with the opening segment. We got Ty Dillinger versus Baron Corbin, and when Baron Corbin came out, when he was doing the whole glitz and glamour and the lights come down on him, he's showing how cool he thinks and looks that he is. Out of nowhere, Apollo Crews comes out and spears Baron Corbin, and I like how the cameras were positioned so that it had that effect that Apollo Crews just came out of nowhere and just rammed right through him. You know, he throws a few punches, the two of them brawl, and finally we get that side of Apollo Crews, and I like the intensity out of him. Out of the two of them, actually, and especially from Apollo Crews. And I'm glad that we're starting to go there with Apollo Crews. And I like that his smile is gone too. It told me that someone's been watching my reviews. Hi, Apollo Crews. Have you been watching one of my reviews? I think you have, bud, because I liked you in this segment. Finally, you got rid of that smile, and finally there's some intensity out of you. I like it. It shows a bit of character development in his progression here, and that this was just two big guys duking it out for the sake of duking it out, and there's a little bit of a story behind it as well. You know, it was like, I cost you, well, I'm going to cost you, and I'm going to cost you. It's pretty simple and effective. In the next segment, I like to see, to advance this storyline, I like to see Apollo Crews get in the ring and grab the microphone and speak about what has happened in this segment. Hopefully next week. I like to see Apollo Crews more on the microphone because it just seems like NXT is high on this guy, and I think they need to do a bit more with him. But to me, this is a really good start on the part of NXT for giving us this segment that actually felt different and not just a match. It was a brawl, and I like it. I like that NXT gives us a bit of variety, so kudos to NXT for giving us a good, strong, and solid opening on NXT this week. We get Bayley, Mojo Rawley, and Zack Ryder versus Alexa Bliss, Blake, and Murphy. And I gotta say, this was a fun and entertaining match. The fans were singing, Mojo Rawley was dancing, Zack Ryder seems to be having a lot of fun ever since he paired up with Mojo, and he still gets a good crowd reaction. So I really enjoyed myself watching this match. And I like how the match ended as well. What happened was that Alexa Bliss steals the women's title from Bayley in the middle of the match, and Bayley was contemplating on should I or not, or should I chase after Bayley while I worry about the match, or while I worry about my title being stolen. And I like her mindset. Her mindset was on chasing Alexa Bliss instead of the match because nothing was really on the line. So I like Bayley's reaction there. But before she left, she delivered a Bayley to Bayley on, I think it was on Murphy, and the crowd loved it. What a great pop. And it just seems like that NXT really respects Zack Ryder as well. What happened was Zack Ryder got the pinfall and the win for this team, and it shows that NXT cares for this guy, and I think Zack Ryder cares back for NXT and the fans. Was it a 5-star classic? No. But it really didn't need to be. Sometimes you just gotta have some fun in a match, and there's always a time and place to book a match like this on NXT. And I even like that NXT followed up on the chase that Bayley was on after Bliss stole the title, because if they really didn't follow up, then why even go there? So I like that they did. And it was fine how it ended. What happened was that Alexa Bliss was taking pictures, and then Bayley sees her, and Bliss drops the title. Bayley picks it up, sees Nia Jax, which causes a distraction, and then Alexa Bliss from behind attacks Bayley. It kind of goes to show where NXT might lead in the future. I think right now they're just going to focus on Alexa Bliss and Bayley, because next week we're going to get an NXT Women's Championship match, and they're probably putting Nia Jax in the background as of right now. I think she was there just to cause a distraction and probably not go further with it just yet, because it seems like now there's going to be an alliance with Nia Jax and Eva Marie. I'll get to that in a bit. And we're also going to get, like I said, a match between Alexa Bliss and Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship, which kind of gives me the question of why NXT is giving us 3 championship matches in a row. It just seems like this is the last resort to enhance storylines for the next 2-hour special. It kind of tells me that it's kind of lazy booking. I'm just kind of wondering why they're giving us 3 championship matches 3 weeks in a row. To me, it just kind of feels not as special when you book it on a 2-hour special. But I'm not complaining, really. It's just a nitpicky issue that I have. And then speaking of Nia Jax, we get a match with her, an enhancement match where she goes over another jobber. And what I like about this match is that her opponent doesn't get any punches or kicks in. It was Nia Jax destroying another victim in the ring, and that, my friends, is how you book Nia Jax. You don't have the opponent get anything in, you just have Nia Jax come out there and just destroy. And to me, this was my favorite match out of her so far, and so NXT is doing a good job of progressing her as to be, the next big NXT Women's champion, perhaps sometime in the future, like I said previously, with her interaction with Bayley. Now, it seems like that they're going to have an alliance form with Eva Marie and Nia Jax, maybe in the form of Nia Jax being Eva Marie's bodyguard, which I'm fine with. I think it benefits both of them. It gives Nia Jax a different role, and it also gives Eva Marie maybe some heel heat, and maybe she'll hopefully benefit, and maybe it'll end up being a feud between the two of them. Who knows? I'm kind of looking ahead on that, maybe a little bit too far ahead. But right now, I'm going to get into what I think were the top 2 segments. One was a match and one was a promo segment. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the NXT Tag Team Championship match between the Vaudevillains and the 2 rednecks, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. Now, going into this match, I was curious to see how NXT would end the match, because I really didn't see the Vaudevillains losing the titles here on a normal episode, a 1-hour show of NXT, and that their reign would just feel a little short by a few weeks. And I don't see Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder win here, because to me their push would be a little too quick. Not much, but just a little too quick. And if NXT decided to even go there with these 2 rednecks, let it progress to the TakeOver event in December in England. That's my thing. And with the match itself, it felt like a standard tag team match with its cliche moments, like one of the, actually both of Dawson and Dash and Dawson targeting a leg of Aiden English, making the hot tag, doing certain spots in certain places, etc. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It is what it is. It just felt like a standard tag team match. Not necessarily didn't feel like a championship match, but I was fine with what they were doing inside the ring. It was really good psychology, especially from Aiden English. I think he sold his leg injury pretty well, and I like that Dash and Dawson are doing veteran things, and I like the comparisons that they've been receiving from the commentators, comparing them to guys like Terry Blanchard and Arn Anderson. To me, these 2 teams are real throwbacks. You got a couple of rednecks from the 1980s-ish, and you got the Vaudevillains, who are 1920s Charlie Chaplin gimmicks. So I think these 2 teams actually work dynamically in a character standpoint. So I really dig that about the match. Now, when it comes to the end result here, I felt like I got a Blake and Murphy moment where Dash and Dawson won the tag team championships. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the element of surprise every now and then, but to me, this just didn't feel right at this moment, at this particular time, because I would have waited it out, maybe at the next 2-hour special event, for them to have that moment so that it would feel more natural and not rushed like what they done with Blake and Murphy when they got the titles. And I think they suffered. The Blake and Murphy suffered the loss when now they're just floundering around on NXT. And I don't want to see that happen with Dash and Dawson in the future. I want them to progress naturally. I think what benefits Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder is to hold the NXT championships, because it makes them stand out even more, and that the Villains really didn't need the championships in my opinion. I think they were there to enhance another team to get the championships. I think that's what the Villains were really there for when they came back, to gain the NXT Tag Team Championships. What I would like to see happen with Dash and Dawson, if they're going to go there, is to have a rematch with the Villains and then reveal that James Storm would be the manager of Dash and Dawson and let him be the voice of the two rednecks as they hold the NXT championships. Maybe that's what NXT might go for in a possible rematch at the 2-hour special event in England. I hesitant if NXT is even going to go there, but we'll see what happens. Now we get into the main event on NXT, and that was Samoa Joe. His reason why did he attack Finn Balor? Why is the question, why is the letter, and you should know better, and that's never mind. But I like this segment. I really do, because, like I said earlier, it gives the show a variety, and we don't get this, we don't see match without any consequence or action. So I like this segment, and I like some of the quotes that Samoa Joe made, and one of them was, "The choices that we make and the actions we put behind them." I like that quote from Samoa Joe. It was one of those quotes that kind of makes you think every now and then. And in this segment, Samoa Joe talks about how he took Finn Balor by the hand and threw him at the very best that NXT had to offer. And he said that Finn Balor lets William Regal make the Battle Royal to throw Joe in there when Balor already gave Joe a title shot. And he also said that he was entitled to an NXT championship match. Finn Balor comes out in a few refs to stop this potential fight that's about to happen. And you can hear Finn Balor said, "I trusted you, I'm going to kick your ass." It's like the Attitude Era is back. No, not really. But what happened here is that we got Samoa Joe shoves one of the refs into Finn Balor, goes for the kill, locks Balor in the Coquina clutch, and Balor passes out for at least 5 seconds. And then he comes to when the refs help him out, which kind of makes me question the psychology of that moment, because to me that diminishes the effectiveness of Joe's Coquina clutch, and really that move should put you to sleep, not take a nap for 5 seconds and then wake up. Now, I'm just nitpicking at that point, but I still like the segment, because when it comes to Samoa Joe's reasoning about why he attacked Finn Balor in this promo segment, you can understand where he's coming from, and I get it, because Balor only suggested to William Regal the match between the two of them for the NXT Championship, but he never really pushed for it as Samoa Joe wanted Finn Balor to. And in that sense, you kind of can relate to Samoa Joe for that, but in the same time, William Regal has the final say in matchmaking, and I'm surprised that Samoa Joe is not really pissed off at William Regal about making the Battle Royal in the first place. So, to me, this excuse was a hit and miss for me. I'm not really sure what to make of it just yet. I'm still in the mind process of thinking about what NXT could do when they follow up after this segment, and normally I would say waited out a few weeks to give us the reason why Samoa Joe did what he did. But to me, it works for Samoa Joe to do it here because of his character and who he is. To me, he's a in-your-face, no BS kind of guy that will tell you how it is and he won't wait. So I like that he done it here because it gives us good character development from Samoa Joe. It was a good segment that let Samoa Joe get one-upped again on Finn Balor to gain some heel heat from the crowd, which he kind of needed. And you really show the emotions here. You could feel the tension between the two of them because they were best friends from that tag team Dusty Rhodes Memorial Tag Team Tournament Classic that they won. And now we get to here. And I like that they started off as friends and now they're turned on each other. Kind of like what they should do with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose on Raw. They should. So overall, this was a pretty good show where we got enhancement with more than one story, which is actually pretty good for a 1 hour show. Each segment felt different as well, with a strong opening segment from Corbin and Cruz, a fun and entertaining segment from the mixed person 6-person tag team match. We got Nia Jax destroying another jobber, 2 old school teams wrestling in a decent tag team title match, and a decent promo segment from Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. I felt that the progression of the show was pretty good from start to finish, and there wasn't one bad segment, just a couple of nitpicks, more specifically in the tag team match and in the final promo segment. But overall, I really enjoyed the show, and that each segment had some purpose and some significance behind it. So I'm going to give this show 4.1 out of 5 points. And if you saw NXT this week, what did you think about it? Feel free to leave those comments right here in the comment section below. And you can also hit that subscribe button down below this video as well to become an MRBer on the MRB Wrestling Review Show.